electric bill went $45 for the month, because she used space heaters for a few days while we got the new furnace in. And she just was wondering if we'd cover the extra $45 on her bill. Her bills are normally $60, it's $105. And I said, you know, Laura, I'll take it under advisement, I'll talk with the council and,
I think we can cover $45.
I think so.
I think we don't need to argue with them about that. We caused it, our committee caused it.
Go ahead, call the council meeting in order, roll call. Brian?
Here.
Larry?
Here.
Krasinski?
Here.
Whack?
Here.
Schultz?
Here.
Russell?
Here.
Hamilton? Here. Boone?
Here.
Okay, first is approval of last month's minutes, we've got two of them from December 12th and December 19th.
So move. Second.
Motion is second to approve the previous council minutes, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Next is treasurer's report.
So move. Second.
Motion is second to approve the treasurer's report, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Next is citizens forum. Brandon?
I'm Brandon Jacoby. I wanted to see about the use of the community center again for the Jacoby Open. It's the second weekend in February, February 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th. Last year, the city allowed me to use the community center at a discounted price, and I was hoping to do the same thing again this year.
We approved at the Ways and Means Committee, approved the licenses for it.
Okay.
I would just assume that's comes part and parcel. But we were gonna discuss weren't they gonna discuss how much they were gonna be charged for the meeting?
Did you work that out with
Dan?
Dan? Yeah. Did you
Yeah,
come up
last
with
year
a-
I paid Dan $200.
Did Dan work out a price with you this year?
No, he hasn't.
Oh, he hasn't.
No,
So,
he
yeah,
hasn't. We
you
haven't
go
discussed the price.
through Dan with that, your license has been approved.
Okay.
Or
Also,
will, I'm
that's
sorry,
something for
pardon
me
me,
to discuss
will
with
be
I'll
Dan.
work with you and I and Dan can touch base, Brendan, and get that squared away.
Okay,
Is there
yeah,
a
no,
bar-
that'd be super, because
Our
it
fee schedule
helps.
should have it in there.
Pardon?
The fee schedule should really address that, shouldn't it?
Yeah, I think so, and that's why we'll get together with Dan and take a look at that fee schedule and see. where
Okay.
we're at.
Okay, great.
Ryan, that was 200 a day?
It was 200 for the weekend last year. That's what I wrote a check for, I believe.
I like to say go through Dan.
What's it?
Well, it says here, on the, community center list, there's a February 9th, $200 for the main hall, which would be a $200 total. And then on the 10th is $200, and the 11th is $200. That's what we got right here on the
Okay,
form.
yeah, and last year I paid Dan 200, I believe, for the weekend, not for each individual day.
Is it 4 days?
Yeah, it starts on Thursday night and then finishes on Sunday.
Okay, because, I was gonna say, because the 8th, there's no charge. So, okay, that's all I was wondering,
You know, without talking to Dan, I don't know what Dan had taken a look
Yeah.
at that, and he might have taken a look at it and thought that, well, maybe this year you're going to $200 every day. I don't know that, Brandon, without talking to Dan
Okay.
on where that's at.
Yeah, and I'm not 100% positive that that's what you charged me. I know it wasn't the full charge. last
Okay.
year, so.
Okay?
Yeah, just, you
Okay,
get
so
together.
I'll just, I mean, it's a ways.
I'll
away.
talk to Dan first thing tomorrow, and then
Okay.
we'll touch base and see if we can't get this nailed down.
Okay, that's super.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Brandon.
Yep.
Thanks, Brandon.
Yep, see you later.
Should be on for that.
Yeah, see you later, yeah.
Later.
Yes, I'm Patricia Smith. I'm here on behalf of Tom Higdon.
We're gonna get to you in a little while,
Oh,
Pat.
I'm sorry. I thought
Just,
they
you're
were-
down the list a little bit.
Oh, I didn't know that. First time I've been to one of these meetings. Sorry about that.
No problem.
Okay, then we'll go into committee reports. First is Ways and Means.
Ways and Means had one meeting to report. There is a change in the, number, let's see, number 8, where it says recommend sponsoring $500 sponsorship for Saturday, March 17th. That's probably gonna say recommend sponsoring $500 sponsorship for the Breakfast with the Bunny
for Saturday, March 17th, and that's the only change I have. So make a motion to accept the minutes as written with the change on number 8.
So we can second.
There's a motion and a second to approve the minutes of the Ways and Means Committee as corrected. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
The Ways and Means Committee meeting was held on Tuesday, January 9th, 2018 at 6:15 p.m. in the council chambers at City Hall. Members present were Garrett Kuhn, Robert Schultz, August Wyack, and Brian Krupsack. Also in attendance were Mayor Al Marco, Larry Krupsack, Rick Schmidt, Sean Woods, and Brad Hamilton. Number 1, we audited all bills. Number 2, recommend temporary Class B liquor license to Jacoby Custom Q's for February 8th through February 11th, 2018, and the Nekoosa Fire Department for January 27th, 2018 at the Nekoosa Community Center. Number 3, recommend temporary liquor license to Dave Reinschmidt, James Rowe, Brandon Jacoby, and Shane Walker. Number 4, recommend budget resolution. Number 5, recommend Hawkins Ash audit agreement for 2017. Number 6, recommend employee safety awards as in the past. Number 7, recommend setting up to 4 to the Chamber of Commerce annual meeting and awards 2017, Thursday, February 22nd, 2018, Wisconsin Rapids. Number 8, recommend sponsoring $500 sponsorship for breakfast with the money for Saturday, March 17th. Number 9, recommend rendezvous in the park for $600 for 2018. Number 10, recommend $425 Chamber of Commerce for 4 Chamber of Commerce dues and partnership. Number 11, recommend sending municipal court clerk to TIPS annual meeting in Madison as per handbook. Recommend approval items 2 through 11.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve items 2 through 11 of the Ways and Means Committee. Roll call. Wenzel?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Hamilton?
Yes.
Mansky?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Wyack?
Yes.
Schultz?
Yes.
Kuhn?
Yes.
Next is Public Works.
Public Works has one meeting to report on. I move to have a minute to accept it.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve Public Works minutes as read. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
To the Honorable Mayor, members of the Nekoosa Common Council, Public Works Committee meeting was held on Tuesday, January 2nd, 2018 at 4:30 p.m. in the Nekoosa Council Chambers. Members present were Larry Krupsack, Terry Szymanski, Garrett Kuhn, and Robert Schultz. Also in attendance were Brad Hamilton, Gus Wyack, and Rick Schmidt from the DPW. Item 1, recommend water and sewer credits for $267.20 for 183 Wood Avenue. Item 2, recommend water and sewer credit for $935.30 on 932 West 5th Street. Item 3, we discussed street ratings for 2017. Item 4, Rick gave a safety update. Item 5, recommend replacement of sludge pump for approximately $16,000. Item 6, discuss fuel purchases for the DPW. Any questions? If not, I move to adopt items 1, 2, and 5.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve items 1, 2, and 5 of the Public Works report. Roll call. Kuhn?
Yes.
Hamilton?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Schultz?
Yes.
Szymanski?
Yes.
Wyack?
Yes.
Wenzel?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Next is Public Safety.
Public Safety had one meeting to recommend minutes be accepted as read.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve the Public Safety minutes as read. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Public Safety Committee meeting was held on Tuesday, January 2nd, 2018 at 5 p.m. in the Nekoosa Common Council Chambers. Members present were Terry Szymanski, Brad Hamilton, Larry Krupsack, and Robert Wenzel. Also in attendance were Garrett Kuhn, Mike Hartshee, Dave Reinschmidt, Sean Woods, Rick Schmidt, and Mark Meyer. Number 1, discuss Rome ambulance. Number 2, discuss ambulance staffing. Number 3, recommend sending 4 fire department personnel to Wisconsin Firefighters Association meeting in Wisconsin Dells, March 1st to the 4th, 2018, as per handbook. Any questions? recommend number 3.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve item 3, the Public Safety Committee report. Roll call.
Brian,
Yes.
Larry,
Yes.
Wyatt,
Yes.
Wenzel,
Yes.
Kuhn,
Yes.
Hamilton,
Yes.
Mansky,
Yes.
Schultz.
Yes.
Next is Property Recreation and Affairs. Rob?
The Honorable Mayor and members of the Nekoosa County Council make a motion to accept the minutes as printed.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve the Property Recreation and Human Affairs reports as printed. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Property Recreation and Human Affairs Committee meeting was held on Tuesday, January 2nd, 2018 at 6 p.m. at the Nekoosa Council Chambers. Members present were Robert Wenzel, Chairman, Brian Krupsack, Secretary, Garrett Kuhn, and August Boyak. Also in attendance were Larry Krupsack and Rick Schmidt, DPW. This, number 1, discussed cultural recreational plaza splash pad. Number 2, recommended pursuing Wi-Fi in the city parks. Number 3, recommend approval of selling Mickey Freeman out-of-sequence cemetery lots per map. Number 4, discuss comprehensive park and open space plan update. Number 5, discuss City of Nekoosa strategic plan. Number 6, discuss Nekoosa Community Center update. Make a motion to approve number 3.
Two?
Oh, wait, no, well,
2 and 3.
not really, because
We're just looking.
he's still looking. I guess we.
So you're not actually,
We're not actually, I guess,
reaching
I guess
out.
it's actually, it's a good question,
We're not
we just
agreeing.
kind of made an agreement, so just for him to go ahead and look at what
Yeah.
it would take, so it's not like him doing any action or anything like that,
Okay.
so if you guys wanna vote on it,
Can we just say discussed?
we can.
yeah, turn it to discuss.
Discussed.
Okay, I'll second number 3.
There's a motion and a second to approve item 3, the January 2nd Property Recreation Committee report. Roll call.
Kuhn,
Yes.
Wenzel,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
Hamilton,
Yes.
Larry,
Yes.
Wyatt,
Yes.
Schultz,
Yes.
Smansky.
Yes.
We're gonna do the other one? The 18th?
I thought, I don't have that with me. I was looking, I thought I had another one, but does anyone have a copy of that?
Okay.
I don't have one more. All right, Property Recreation and Affairs had another meeting on the 18th of December. Make a motion to accept minutes as printed.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve the Property Recreation and Human Affairs report from December 18th. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Proper Recreation and Human Affairs meeting was held on Monday, December 18th, at 2017 at 6 p.m. at the Nekoosa Community Center. Members present were Robert Wenzel, Chairperson, Brian Krupsack, Secretary, August Boyak. Also in attendance were Rick Schmidt, Peter Manley, Adam Decline, Terry Whitmore, and Brian Geeson. Number 1, discussed the survey update. Number 2, reviewed the prioritized strategic issues. Number 3, reviewed strategies to attract families and improve the riverfront access, improved river. And number 4, set the next month's meeting for January 22nd. No, I forgot about it.
That's it.
I read it.
Okay, that is it for committee reports. Going into old business. Rick, Jim, who wants to take this over?
Hello, it's Mrs. Smith,
Yes.
pardon me?
Yes. Tricia, Richard Smith, yes.
My name is Jim Quinn. I'm the attorney for the city of Nekoosa.
Okay.
I'm the attorney that wrote the letter back in November. And I'm told that I sent it as a regular posted letter and also as a certified receipt letter. And ultimately, I was told that you picked up the letter and you communicated the contents of the letter to your son. And then you had your son left a voicemail with our police chief, Sean Woods, shortly after receiving the letter.
Okay.
I believe still in the month of November, identifying that he was out of the country, but that he wanted to be able to rehabilitate the house, obtain a building permit, or the necessary building permits, and get in compliance with the building code. That was the initial message that your son was giving to the city. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Okay. So now fast forward to tonight, what I've been told is that your son did return to America for a period of time in late December.
Right.
Did he have a face-to-face meeting with either you, Rick, or with you, Chief Woods? How did you communicate with him when he was back in the country?
I had not. I only contacted with Patricia.
Tom Higdon did contact me by phone the week between Christmas and New Year's. And I believe during that time he was in the United States, but he called me by phone.
He did not come down to City Hall and
No.
meet with you? Okay. But the message he was giving to you in the phone message was that he still was interested in obtaining building permits in order to spend money on the building.
Yes, that was his message to me, that he wished to do what was needed to repair the building and hire contractors. That was his message to me.
And for Mrs. Smith, I'll tell you that there was a conversation between Mr. Schmidt, Chief Woods, and myself before Christmas, in early December, where we identified that it's somewhat inappropriate to be issuing building permits when we want to go down the path of the raise order. And so that's where we are at tonight. Right now, the city, my opinion, but it's not my decision, my opinion to the city is that they should continue to pursue the raise order. I don't want your voice to be silenced. And so I guess I would ask you, what is your son's position?
Well, he left me in control of everything that needs to be done. He told me that I should take and get the necessary contractors and everybody else to get it done, and then I'd like a time frame to have it done in, if I could possibly get that right now. And then I would make sure that everything was up to code and whatever time you give me again.
Well, when we have discussed extending times to you, the discussion that Mr. Schmidt, Police Chief Woods, and I've had is that, one, the city does not want to be strung out.
Okay.
Two, we want to guarantee that if we're going to, we'll say, back off, so to speak, that the work will actually be done and be done in a timely way. And in order for us to have a guarantee, we think that there needs to be a letter of credit, a guarantee by a financial institution like a bank,
Okay.
saying, yeah, we will put the $20,000, $25,000, $30,000, or $35,000 on the table to make sure that the work gets done if Mr. Higdon does not do the work.
Okay.
Is that within the realm of possibilities?
That seems like a lot of steep money for right now. He's on, what would you call that? Not Social Security, so he has a certain amount each month that he would allow me to take out of there.
Okay, now hearing that information, that almost causes me to say, this is not doable.
Okay.
If he's saying,
He
let
could
me
probably
fix
come
my
up with
house, let me
about,
fix my house, let me fix my house,
Mhm.
and we say, we could do that,
Mhm.
but this fix is a $30,000 fix, and we don't think you have the money to do it, then why are we even,
Well, he's come up with like $5,000 a month till he get that loan paid off. And the bank is over in, Wells Fargo over in Edgar, Wisconsin. If he was to get his contractors, which I have one already set up, but I have to know exactly what has to be done again. Because I know it's the eaves, and I know it's also the furnace and the water system and the electrical. That's as far as I know.
I want to just explain to the I'm now talking to the Common Council as
Okay.
to what is the procedure, okay? The way the statute is set up, one of three different, we'll say, bodies or individuals can put in motion the raise order. It can be the Common Council, it can be the building inspector, or it could be another designated official. Here in the city, we kind of rely on the building inspector to give information to the Common Council, and then ultimately let the Common Council issue the raise order. And the last two raise orders that we have done here in the city, we had the information, we knew the properties were abandoned. One we knew it was abandoned, the person moved out of town, and that was the building over by what I call a pizza house. The homeowner actually came in and said they were willing to cooperate with a raise order because their insurance company was going to pay for it. And so we went ahead and issued the raise order. I think we may have put a 30-day deadline, but it's arbitrary. We could, when the municipality, when the city of Nekoosa would say, we want the building raised, we then set the time. 30 days, 60 days? When will your son return to America?
April.
So, realistically, if we said tonight, you have 60 days, that takes it into March, he's not even gonna be around.
No, but I have somebody already in motion
In motion for,
doing all the work. As soon as I find out exactly what it is, I have certified carpenter and electrical and everything all lined up. I can give you his phone number too, he's in
well,
Milwaukee.
hang on. So, once let's say the Common Council decides to issue the raise order and you identify the time period, the property owner can comply or can elect not to comply. At that point, if there's non-compliance, you can go ahead and raise the building, or you can go to circuit court to get further protection and let the court let the court enforce the order that the City of Nekoosa Common Council made. The statute is set up so that when you go to court, you to go to the top of the court calendar. The court's supposed to hear the petition within, I think, 20 or 30 days, so that you don't get lost in the court system. When Chief Woods and Mr. Schmidt and I sat down in October, I was expressing to those two individuals that I wanted to make sure the property owner was given as much due process and fair process, which is why I wrote the letter in November to say, look, do something. But I also have to share with you, Mrs. Smith, that the city feels like it's being strung out and that we've been dealing with this property for now in excess of 10 years. But not all 10 years, not all 10 years with your son.
Exactly.
But with your son, we've been dealing with him for almost 3 years. And there's another provision in the statute that says, if there has been a cessation, a stoppage of normal construction of a building for a period of more than 2 years, the building inspector of the City Common Council could order the owner of the building to raise the building. I mean, we're really, the conduct of your son is really putting the city over the barrel when he says, I want a building permit, and then we write to him 6 months before the building permit expires and says, you gotta get the show on the road, and then the permit expires last July, and now we're another 6 months down the path, and nothing's been done. So that's the background. I'm offering this to you as the background. And one final thing is, I don't think the city needs to go forward with spending for another building inspector, but Mr. Schmidt tells me that if the building inspector came in to do an inspection, which is kind of what we think needs to happen if we're going to engage in communication with the property owner, that's an expense of $600, you know, just for the building inspector. And the reason if we were going to say, we will work with you, we want a blueprint or a checklist of what the building inspector says needs to be completed.
Right.
Okay, so that's the background. I'll let Mr. Schmidt or Chief Woods comment.
Right, so, I mean, today, I did contact the building inspector, like Jim said, and the building inspector, last time he was on the property was over 2 years ago. So the building inspector can't, in good faith, put together what would need to be repaired. So if we are gonna, from the council's perspective, if we are gonna allow any work to be done there, an inspection is required at the property to determine exactly what needs to be done and how much the structure has been dilapidated over the course of the last several months because of the inactivity for the last 2 years, really. So that really is an issue that needs to be done if that would be allowed to go forward is that inspection. And that fee would, you know, obviously is several $100.
It's a $600 fee. I think that, I don't know if that's a set fee or an estimated fee, but the message that I'd be giving you is that I think the common council, or I'd be telling the common council is that if you want us to delay, we want the building inspector to do the inspection.
Okay.
We will share the inspection report with you, and you can give it to your contractors, but we think that you should be paying the $600.
Okay, now you need that $600 within what period? Now, next week or 10 days from now or when?
I'll let Mr. Schmidt address that.
Well, I think that if the council would approve going forward with repairs, there's a variety of items that would need to be approved and authorized with, is one, the $600 would have to be paid, you know, this month. The inspection would be done this month.
I have that occasion.
Some of the other items that we've been taking a look at here is that within, we're looking at within 30 days, a building permit would need to be submitted and all the appropriate fees paid, you know, with that. The other item that the attorney brought up is that, and as part of the building the building permit, all the contractors would need to be specified, that the master electrician, the master plumber, and a qualified contractor that's licensed and bonded, all would have to be reputable and, you know, listed on the permit,
Okay.
you know. The other one that we did discuss and the attorney brought up was that we feel it's in the best interest of the city that there's a letter of credit that is submitted so that the city has the ability to draw on a letter of credit if the timelines are not met or the work is not completed in a timely fashion.
Okay.
And so we feel that that's important, and that's something that the council would have to consider if they feel that that's important to add to the requirement here. And then we're looking at if this council would allow this to go forward with those conditions being met, that the building permit and all the work would have to be signed and approved and letter of credit in, and so that about April 1st then you'd be allowed to start construction and all the work would need to be completed by about the end of summer.
Oh,
Okay? give you about 6 months to do the work.
Okay, I was hoping it wasn't gonna be this month, because it's cold out there.
No, we recognize if the council would allow that, I mean, now that's if the council does not pursue the raise order. So there's strict requirements and timing that we're looking at, and letter of credit being one of the items that we have access to that value of money in case that this thing does not continue to go forward.
But the codes aren't met, I
Right.
understand, okay.
Initially, our message would be that you and your son would have $600 into the game, into the project by paying for this building inspector. The fact that you do that and that you continue to talk to us does not absolutely mean we will back off the raise order.
Right.
But it also, we want you to have your eyes as fully opened as to whether it's worth embarking on this project.
Right.
I mean, if the building inspector's report and then the contracts by the electrician, the plumber, the general contractor just make it such an expensive project, we might just say to you as the property owner, we think it's unreasonable to do that.
Okay.
And maybe you as the property owner will push back and say, we want to do it, we want to do it, we want to do it, and convince us that we should let you do it. But the law is set up to let the city of Nekoosa make the decision as to whether it's unreasonable to spend the money. I should tell you in all fairness, if the city would make a decision that it's unreasonable for the property owner to spend that money, the property owner does have the court system to go to ask the court system to make an independent decision. Okay? It sounds like where we're at right now is the threshold question as to what the Common Council wants to do. I'm hearing from you, you'd like to at least tell us to hold off. You would like to pay the $600 for the building inspector report and put this back on the agenda for next month.
Right. Or pay the amount this month so that I can get everything going for the next several months so we get it done. What I'm saying, I want to give them the $600 in January and then get whatever else I need. I'll probably have to have a piece of paper to go by. Sure.
Mr. Schmidt does have a checklist.
Okay, thank you.
And he's going to be who you deal with when you have questions. When he has questions, he's the one who's going to be dealing with you and vice versa.
Okay.
You should also know, though, he has the police chief and myself as kind of his backup team to answer any questions he has.
All right.
Finally, I'm going to say this for probably the third time. If you're willing to spend the $600, that does not mean that all the city council, what I'd be representing to the city council is that we're not making an agreement to back off. We're just finding out how expensive of a project it's going to be.
Okay.
Any questions of me?
Thank you.
So basically what we're doing, we've got two choices, either issue the raise order or hold off for a month?
Correct. And if you hold off for a month, you are assuming, you're taking Mrs. Smith at her word that she will pay the $600, we'll get a building inspector report, and the report will be shared with the Common Council, and we'll be visiting this issue next month. And then next month, the issue is, how expensive of a project this is, and whether and if it's greater than 50%,
That's what I was gonna ask.
if it's greater than 50% of the, current assessed value, which is about $31,000, do you want to say to the property owner, this is such a expensive project, we're not going to let you do it? Or are you going to let the property owner, again, try to convince you to go forward with rehabbing their property?
All right. Would you schedule the inspection after you receive the money from Mrs.?
I believe that would be the recommended action that I would take is if the council would, if that's the direction, yes.
I don't think that'd have to be,
I think that.
That's the way I would look at it.
Yeah, nothing is done until we get the money.
I'm correct, if you're gonna pay the $600, you can do that in the next week?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Personally, got no problem, I mean, if you want to spend the 600
yeah, real.
and wait a month, I mean, then you definitely.
Then we'll have an inspection.
Yeah,
before you-
because now you're talking about the, your cement and everything that's gonna be going through, who knows what's changed over the years.
Right.
How much worse it may have gotten, and it's 50%, if it's anything over 50%, and the
Anything over
assessed value's
50%
at
of the
31,
assessed value of the building.
and the assessed value's 31 right now, Jim?
I believe it's 31.
And you're talking anything over 15.5, yeah.
It's gonna take at least that much.
I've got a 2014, 30,300, I thought I saw 30,000.
Well, let's go with 30,000, that's good.
Yeah.
31.4,
31.4.
with 4,500 being the land, so 26.9.
They wanna spend the 600 and get the, what's another month?
And really, there is not a lot any contractor could do for you until that inspection is in.
Right, right. I have to get that
Spend
out.
more money if that's funds are available.
Possibility exists that you're putting a price tag of 15.5 or whatever for repairs, but what if the landowner wanted to actually spend more money on it and they had the backing from the banks? Would we still have to go with that 50% deal? If everything was if all the ducks were all in a row?
Question is, can the property owner, let's exaggerate it, if 15,000 is if an expenditure greater than 15,000 would cause this to be an unreasonable expenditure, would you let the property owner spend greater than 15,000, such as 20, 25, or 30,000? You have that discretion to do that. The way the statute is set up is it's a may order the raise.
Well, that's where you're submitting a letter of credit would come into play. To know if they have money, correct?
It's somewhat correct, because now when the property owner is saying, I love this building so much that I want to spend $30,000, then when you put the letter of credit requirement on the table, they're saying, put your money where your mouth is.
Right. Yeah,
I have a question. Does your son intend to use that as a primary residence, or?
No, he's over in the Philippines right now.
Oh.
The lands are vacant, just the house.
Long-term though, what are his plans long-term for that house?
Truthfully, I don't really know.
Okay, I was just curious.
He may come back from the Philippines and live in it himself, but that has never been established between him and I.
If he wants to refurbish the house, which he apparently does, why wasn't he doing something way before now?
He was, he had people out there working for them, and they did some covering and they did some steps in that, but it wasn't according to the code, it needed to be redone again. And then at that time, he left and went to the Philippines. He was working out of state too, so it all came together, you know, his retirement, everything within the last year. So he wasn't in the area to really I know that's not an excuse, but that's what was.
Yeah, I was just
what it
curious.
is.
Yeah.
So do we need
So
a
I think the
motion?
motion would be, that, I guess, I think the motion would be appropriate to just, move this item to the February agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
You know, you
So
get
then
together
you
with
two-
him.
So you would like to see me again in February? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Right, and you're gonna contact me, and you're gonna, in order for us to have the inspection completed,
Right,
you're gonna pay the city the $600 so we can hire the building inspector to finalize the inspection.
okay,
And then you'll appear at the next February council meeting. We'll have the inspection report in advance of that, so then we know exactly what we're dealing with as far as repairs.
can I, in the meantime, after I get the permit, can I have the people that I have, gonna do the job work on it, or do I have to wait?
You're gonna have to wait
You're gonna have
on
to
that.
All right, I
yes.
just wanna make sure.
Right, yep. But you have my business card, you can contact me tomorrow or, the next day, and we can work out the details to get the inspection work completed.
Okay, I appreciate that, thank you. Is that it?
Yep.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that's it for old business. Anybody have anything on new business? Going into department reports. First is the police chief's monthly report.
Second.
Motion is second for the police chief's report. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Next is public works monthly report.
So moved. Second.
Motion is second for the public works. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Next is the fire department's monthly report.
So moved. Second.
Motion is second for the fire department. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Next is building inspector's monthly report.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second for the building inspector. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Next is community center's monthly report.
So moved. Second.
Motion is second for the community center. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Airport commission was from the 7th of last month. Motion is second to approve that.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Next is the bills.
We had the three bill lists. Ways and Means, $250, council, $1,040, camera, 20, mayor's, 600, excuse me, property recreation, $445, and public safety, $250, public works, $250.
Move to approve the bills as presented.
Second.
Motion is second to approve the bills. Roll call.
Schultz,
Get down.
Larry,
Yes.
Wyatt,
Yes.
Wenzel,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
Chemansky,
Yes.
Coon,
Yes.
Hamilton.
Yes. Just one thing back with Brandon. For this year, for 17, he did pay 200 a day. It's on the first page of the report. So,
It pretty much just stays the same.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, anybody have anything else?
Motion adjourned.
No, we got a motion to go into closed session.
Oh.
Make a motion a second to go into,
Good
right, to go into closed session.
try, Gary.
You're gonna withdraw your motion?
Yeah.
Okay, I move to go into closed session.
I'll see you guys.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thanks, Tom.